Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am moderator joined by Ryload, and we have the upcoming match between the Skill and the 47 Ronin. I'm really excited, this match should be wonderful, and I am pumped to see which one of these Weeb warriors will win and emerge victorious in this match between Honorable Samurai. Ryload, walk us through the 47 Ronin.
47 Ronin have got Navy Megatron, Dual Astarte, Dual Curse, Dual Deacon, Vexor, Purify, and a Daredevil. That's actually quite an interesting comp. Dual Curses, that's, I mean, it's not uncommon to bring Dual Curses, but it's certainly a bit different. Dual Astarte, pretty standard, but what I can actually see, these Astartes and Navy Mega are blasters, and they're at 0, so going to be definitely rushing in. Tell me, what does Skill have?
So Skill yourself, or Skill has gone with a Fleet Hurricane, Harbinger, Navy Brutix pair, Oniros Curse, pair of Blackbirds, Hyenan, and a Daredevil, going with the variant of the archetype that we saw so much in Alliance Tournament 14. Not really changed that much, except for the Daredevil, now discounted instead of a Cruor that was used in AT-14. They have come in at 50 kilometers, whereas the 47 Ronin are on top of the beacon, mostly at 0 with their core strung out a bit, and the match is about to get underway. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Ronin are definitely going to rush in. Obviously, that's their plan, because obviously they're all blaster boats, and obviously tracking disruptors on the curse. These curses are obviously armor, and these Navy Brutixes, these quad battle cruisers are going to have trouble tracking, I think. The Blackbirds might have to do work on these curses, trying to jam them out. So there's definitely going to be an Ewar war at this point. Lots of drones also coming out for both sides. I want to see who wins this Ewar war. It looks like Skill are trying to jam out a Astarte, Curse, and a Deacon at the same time.
Yeah, Skill holding back at the very beginning, but now starting to commit, closing to range, and initially getting tackle on that Deacon, but then having some of their actual tackle get jammed. The Hyena of Dexter Zio having jam effects on top of him, and the Blackbird of Hatsumi Kobayashi, now the new primary, grappled and webbed, scrammed all the Ewar effects on top of him. So far they're trading out rather effectively for the Vexor of Shyvana, though.
Yeah, absolutely. That Vexor seems to be the primary for Skill right now. I think he's going to go down. Yep, no problem. I'm surprised. I want to see how effective these tracking disruptors are on this quad Navy BC upper core, because they don't seem to be affecting much of the damage. But I have a feeling that these tracking disruptors are more for a defensive purpose, to keep the Deacon to survive for the Deacons at this point. Ineris is trying to get jammed from Skill. The control bar on the Ronin is absolutely massive. They've almost maxed it out, and Blackbird down for Skill. Wow.
Yeah, the jams were effective enough to force Lee Jansen to not acquire a target lock on Hatsumi Kobayashi's Blackbird. Locks have been reacquired, and Dexter Zio has been able to be held so far, but Skill needs to be able to trade out a few more ships, and it looks like they've got full tackle onto that Curse of Johnlock. Getting rid of a Curse would do a great deal for allowing these battlecruiser cores to project across the field, and is a good call of primary. But as we say that, Dexter Zio is now being heavily primaried, and it's just in a sliver of armor.
Absolutely, that Hyenan might be living to win at this point. Yeah, he caught reps just in time, so he's living to win at this point in maybe like 5% structure. Meanwhile, the Curses actually doing just fine. He got John Locke actually survived just fine in half armor. He's getting wrapped up now. But the Daredevil, the pick, ooh, he's so close. And yeah, that Daredevil down for Ronin now is a nice and easy pick for Skill. Those quad BCs probably tried to project that damage and got him. No problem. And it looks like they're trying to jam out the other Curse and Hyena now. This Ewar war is pretty intense.
Yeah, Dexter Zio was initially getting webbed down with a grapple. That would be from the Navy Megatron, but he's blown past as getting on top of the backline, just trying to hold down the Deacon of David Aust. So far, the Deacons are doing a good job of staying on top of each other and being able to apply meaningful reps to each other. And with all the tracking disruptors spread across Skill Yourself, they're having a lot of difficulty applying any sort of meaningful damage to the Deacon. But in the same token, the Ronin's attack bar is rather weak, along with Skill Yourself, both teams struggling to apply appreciable damage to either core.
Absolutely. I think these tracking disruptors are making these Deacons survive quite easily. These quad BCs can't track it at all. I have a feeling these Deacons are probably 10 men as well, with that sig radius and armor on the armor HP on these Deacons. They're not going to be being tracked at all at any point. I think these are Starties and Navy Megas. They're actually just you know, micro warp driving towards the enemy, and obviously since they're blasters, they can't really do much damage at range, and they're just trying to chase anything that can be caught, and nothing can be caught at this point. A Hyena and a Daredevil are neutered. I think that they can just burn away, no problem.
Yeah, right now the Blackbird of Darkrai is completely grappled and webbed, and no nude effects or jam effects on the Oneros. And now seeing the reps come in, but it might be a little bit too late. If Darkrai survives, it'll be in a sliver of hull.
Absolutely, they can't really lose this curse. These two curses are pretty much the backbone support for Ronin. So if they lose a curse, those tracking disruptors will fall, and that new pressure will also fall as well, and which will also cause the Deacon survivability to be weakened drastically. He is catching reps, but it might be too little too late. He is in half structure. He seems to be stabilizing. He's probably burning away like crazy. It looks like he has stabilized just a little bit, and I have a feeling he might survive. Oh, I don't know. He's webbed now, so he could die. He cannot die at this point. If he dies, the Ronin may lose this match.
Yeah, so crucially, the curse wants to pull range to get away from the target's disrupted battlecruiser course, but if he pulls too much range, these Deacons will not be in the rep range to actually sustain him. Deacons not having nearly the same optimal or fall-off on the small reps that a Oneros Guardian or even a Rabisu would have. So far, everything is more or less holding on each side, but as time keeps on ticking, these curses' Ewar effects are going to be more and more felt. Eventually, the capacitor reservoirs of the Skill Yourself cores will be drained.
Absolutely, and it looks like the curse for Skill is now tackled. He's grappled, webbed, and neutered, so might be a potential primary for the Ronin. And the Deacon down? Yeah, a Deacon just got deleted by David Oss. I wonder what happened there.
So critically, now that one Deacon is down, it's much easier to actually kill the second Deacon. This was Skill's key to get back in the match. If they can kill Lilu Killick, they can work at these curses, work at these cores, and they've just got a lot more appreciable damage and core still surviving. But one ship that isn't surviving right now is Capku, being grappled, neuted, and webbed, down into hull and regaining armor slowly but surely. Lee Jansen struggling to keep Capku up.
Absolutely, and a trade for a Deacon and a curse. I don't know. I think a curse. I'd definitely trade a curse for a Deacon, but that Deacon dying is, you know, that's quite a blow for Ronin. But they do kill the curse now, so the two curses from the Ronin can just go to town on these quad Navy BCs, just putting all their newts and all their tracking disruptors on these quad BCs and doing some true Ewar. And it does look like Skill just don't have much Ewar left, while the Ronin have their control bar up to max.
Yeah, we can see that the skill attack bar and the control bar are rather low. The attack bar being rather even to Ronin's right now. Fleet Hurricane and the Fricks are both in low armor. They really need to kill one of these cores. Killing the curse was a key to the match, or getting rid of the Deacon. They need to get something sooner rather than later. If they keep losing links off these Navy BCs, they're going to be in an awful position, and it doesn't look like the Fleet Hurricane or the Brutix will be able to pull range, being completely locked down by scrams and webs.
Absolutely. These quad Navy BCs need to kill something really quickly. They need to kill Curse, or they need to kill a Navy man. They need to kill something, because this core that Ronin have now is still pretty strong. They're losing a Navy battlecruiser now. I mean, he is scrammed, but I don't know what. And a Navy fleet cane. Wow, they just lost a Navy cane and a fleet cane at the same time. I mean, Skill are not looking good now. They only have 2 battlecruisers versus the entire Ronin core, pretty much, and this might be cleanup, I think.
Yeah, a Navy Harbinger and a Navy Brutix are each individually weaker than in a start. Oneros has been more or less neutered the entirety of this match. Instead of primarying that Oneros, Ronin chose to neut it out so that the reps would be that much less effective, and instead spent their time working at the cores. That's something that we often see from teams that are able to put a lot of finesse in their comps and actually use a high level of micro skill. Both of these two teams are rather talented. Lost Skill was a team I had predicted to go rather deep in the bracket. Ronin were a team that came in top 8 last year. In the past had knocked out Hydra in Alliance Tournament 12. So both teams having a lot of tournament pedigree. And I see Lost Skill going very very deep in the lower bracket, possibly even having a PFR-esque tournament run, as Warp Out getting finally cleared off the field, not being able to warp out of the tournament bubble.
Absolutely. Ronin, I think this battle came to of a game of Troll and Ewar. Basically it was Quad Navy BC and the Blackbirds. It's basically the Blackbirds versus the Curses at this point, and I think Skill could have pulled this off if they were lucky with their jams. They could have jammed the Curses, could have even jammed the Deacons at this point, and to neuter out those two curses that the Ronin had. They obviously have the definitely more of the newt pressure and the tracking disrupting pressure, because obviously those curses do have a bonus to tracking disruptors, and they really definitely did the hurt on the Quad Navy BC Skill had. And I think it was a close match in terms of the Ewar, but Ronin definitely had the finesse of the control of those two curses. Definitely use those curses defensively, using those tracking disruptors to keep those Deacons alive as much as possible, and eventually inching out, muting the Aeneras with those curse newts as well. I mean, quite well played, especially on the Ronin side. But Skill definitely tried the best with the Quad Navy BC, bringing two Blackbirds, putting their own little twist on it, bringing those nice jams. I mean, definitely tried well, but those core of the Ronin was too strong, and the match is ended with Ronin 65 points with Skill 19. Back to the studio.
Would you say that has been a top tier target calling?
I would definitely say it's a unique tier target calling.
Should be fine.
Nope.
I love EVE Online!
Hey guys, welcome back from what is really, I think that's going to be match of the day right there. Ronin bringing out their signature logistics frigates in beautiful fashion, piloting them so incredibly well. Usually when one Deacon dies, one Logifrig dies, the other goes down instantly. But Ligaloo carrying it through, the tail of that hyena pilot just barely surviving for so long, which was the real weakness of the Deacons. I think we actually have up on screen coming up the hyena almost dying here as it flies by. It goes down, Here we go. Here's the play-by-play. The hyena in the bottom right of the screen here, we see it's in shields, and then suddenly it's going to get hit in a moment. There we go. As the Vexor drops down into structure, the hyena starts taking damage. It's low speed. It's only going 150. There it goes into armor. We can see ships burning past here. It's caught, it's tackled down, it's going down further through armor, through down. Blackbird dying almost at the same time, forcing reps to be split across between the two ships, both in structure. The Aeneras has to make a choice. He chooses to save the hyena over the Blackbird. I think it is the correct choice in that space, but he makes that choice at the very last second with the tiniest sliver of structure remaining, and I think it's that hyena which really allowed them to take down David's Deacon the rest of the match. But that was an absolutely insanely incredible match. Like, that is a match that I want to go home this week and really deconstruct and look at it second by second, from the incredible construction here by Ronin, beautiful, unique, elegantly put together team comp, and then Skill yourself, as moderator predicted, bringing out a really well put together, really well flown team. Skill doing really well there. Even though they lost, I absolutely think they're going on an absolute tear tear through the lower bracket. I think we're going to see a lot more from them, both in this tournament and in future tournaments. You know, Brett, Ithaca, I've talked for far too long already. What do you guys think of that match? I'm just too excited.
I think that was a really good example of what I was trying to get at previously, that two really well piloted Deacons can just be incredibly effective. Now, it's a good choice to go for that Hyena off the bat, because they really need to remove those webs, as you mentioned, the webs are the weakness of those Deacons. I mean, we saw at the start as well that the Deacon, one of them got jammed and then the damage landed on the other, and that was a real like cliff point there. If that first Deacon had died while the second was jammed, then that match could have gone a completely different way. The Ronin there, the piloting, I think they were just overheating afterburners, moving around, just staying together. They did absolutely superb. Those two Deacon pilots are pretty much the hero of the Ronin right now, in my opinion. That was a fantastic match, my favourite so far.
I think whoever theory crafted that Ronin team deserves a real pat on the back for that, because they knew a lot of the teams that they go up against would bring this kind of Navy BC comp, and we've seen it throughout the tournament, so we know it's strong. And that entire comp by the Ronin was a perfect deconstruction of everything that makes the Navy BC strong, because they brought the Logifrigs so that the tracking could be useless. If you saw, they had a wealth of tracking disruptors all on the curses, and the curses were bouncing about, stopping everything from doing anything, and it just perfectly played into it. Even the Navy Mega staying close in case they come against a different type of all-in comp.
Yeah, so we actually have another cool graphic coming up here. We have, in fact, from the very first match, a heart rate monitor from, I believe it was the logistics pilot of the Tuskers team. We'll be bringing that up on screen for you guys now in just a few seconds. Sorry, it's a Vector pilot, my mistake. So, you know, he's pretty excited about the match, going up and down, getting excited up to, you know, to the 120 as the countdown starts. He calms, he breathes, he's ready. Then it's the slow increase through the match as he's getting targeted all the way up to a peak of 153. The man's having a heart attack, and he slowly calms down as Tuskers really come out. That's really nice, really fantastic. Thank you so much for Long Drinks for wearing that for us and giving us the detail and a bit of annotation as to what happens on there. Really wonderful to be able to bring that kind of thing in. So what I really also like about that Ronin comp is that they knew what they needed to ban. So their comp very clearly was built to counter that NBC core. So what do they ban? They don't just ban Armor Logi, which might make sense, you know, trying to get rid of them. They ban specifically, they ban Eos, they ban Ishtar, the two highest tanking drone ships that we have, because they're T2 tank, especially against the blaster, the hybrid damage you had from those two Astartes and the Navy Mega. They knew they'd never break them. They had to kind of accept that they might face an error, so it might be difficult, but by the looks of it, they knew that with the newts and the curses, they could break through it and kill ships anyway. Like, I cannot get over how great that match was, because what's more, in the theory crafting, so many teams are building off each other. Everybody's doing their own flavor of NBC. Everybody's doing their own flavor of drone comp. This is something new. This is something very specific to Ronin, and it's now something that is extraordinarily difficult to practice against. You know, they've been flying Logifrigs for maybe 2 years now. Say you're up against the Ronin next round, you've got to prepare against Logifrig comps. Do you have Logifrig pilots anywhere near the relevance of Lilu and, sorry, I forget his other name. So you can't practice effectively against the Ronin unless you're practicing with the Ronin. So I'm really excited to see Ronin through the rest of this tournament, but we sadly must move on to talk about the next match coming up. That's going to be our final match of the first half of the day. We are already nearly at the break at 16:20 Eve time. It's going to be Test Alliance, Please Ignore, going up against the Bastion. The Test Alliance now, they are, I was going to say when we were talking about Brave, Brave to me are a lot like Test, but Test are the archetypical team where they are a huge group on Tranquility, typically known not necessarily for being the best, but for having great propaganda, a great attitude. But the Test tourney team for a long time, even when Test were very proud of how bad they were, the tourney team were a very committed, select group of pilots who took the tournament very seriously, and they have produced year-on-year fantastic results, even coming up with their own, you know, ideas. For example, the pseudo Tinker we saw a few years ago. You know, the Tinker based on on more Tech 1 cruisers rather than the core heavy battleships, which was a really nice comp. And I think that Test are definitely going to be the favourites in this match against the Bastion. You know, that Imperium member alliance made up of kind of the conglomerations of a few alliances that were kind of fail-skating or leaving the Imperium, a few corps that didn't want to leave, coming together. But, you know, the Bastion may bring us something and may give Test a fight. What do you guys think about this upcoming match?
I think Test have done very well in previous years. You can see by the results that they've done well. They got unlucky last year facing really hard teams, and I think the perfect description of them is they're a good team, not a top 8 winning team, but they're a very, very good team.
Well, let's find out how good they are, because we have to go straight to the commentators to watch the match.